The South-South trade can potentially involve increased growth in the volume of exports. In fact, over the past decade, economic growth has been much more dynamic in the Asia economy of China and India than in the North. Also, South-South trade can potentially benefit developing countries if it allows or even promotes industrial modernization of their production structures. Specialists point out that the dominant sector in South-South trade is manufacturing, and they are more sophisticated and provide more learning effects than exports to the North. Finally, South-South trade could support developing countries by increasing the reliability of demand for their exports, which could be of great help in their fight for macroeconomic stability.
Instead of a direct transport from A to B, the product network has been fragmented and therefore the products will make roundabout routes before it reaches B. Thus, the South-South trade statistics can include a degree of double counting, so this is something that needs to be considered. Moreover, when looking at the interregional trade between South-South, there are large differences between the income elasticities of import demand, namely between 0.17 and 0.72. This makes it more difficult to reach a conclusion which is applicable for all countries concerning the South-South trade.
Non-tariff barriers are the main problem in Colombia. These are the obstacles that importers and exporters have to overcome in addition to tariffs. Sanitary measures, technical standards, custom procedures, and agreement. Everything that has to be accomplished to be able to access international markets and that is invisible. Tariff measures applied in the world are of the order of 5% of world trade, while non-tariff measures are of the order of 20% and 30%. What products have major problems in foreign trade? Processed foods, chemicals, textiles, wood products, and fresh food.
The export effort is necessary to stop instantly the growth of the net external debt. Now, the higher the level of interest rates on the debt, the greater the export effort required. In the 90s, export increases and the foreign debt decreases a percentage, but in these years, exports have been decreasing due to different factors such as taxes, customs, duty, pandemic, etc., and the country has had to resort to new credits. On the other hand, the country's economy is based on SME, which they don't have the necessary resources to export their products or services. The Colombian government does not facilitate this process.
One of the problems in international trade for Colombia for those who export in addition to tariffs, so are sanitary measures, technical standards, customs procedures, conformity. Everything that has to be fulfilled in order to access international markets and that is invisible. Tariff measures applied worldwide are in the order of 5% of world trade, while non-tariff measures are in the order of 20% and 30%. Non-tariff measures are an additional problem that reduce the competitiveness of enterprise. The good news is that if the most difficult measures and problems are in Colombia, they can be solved by the Colombian authorities. Another of the drawbacks that arise have to do with the controls that are done by drug trafficking, although these controls are not called into questions, but the way in which they are carried out because sometimes they are discriminatory, arbitrary, or damage the good.